All right. Ahlan wa sahlan. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bassam Haddad, and I am more than excited to be here today, launching with my colleagues and the other partners that are not joining. This was admittedly a short notice announcement. Once we were able to secure all the partners, 15 of them. I am director of the Arab Studies Institute and associate professor at George Mason University, and I am joined today by my co-partner in crime, Amani Jamal, which is not a good thing to say before you say yet another Arab name. Um, but Amani and I were having these conversations for some time, and then decided and determined to put together this project, which now has expanded to include more than a dozen partner institutions. We are also joined by two of our partners who were able to join us. Um, Professor Ahmed Dalal, who is Dean of the Georgetown campus in Doha, Qatar, and Nadia Al Ali, who is the director of the Center for Middle East Studies at Brown University. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Ahlan. Um, so we are intending for this to be a quick introduction to the project, and we are not providing any, if you will, any substantive discussions here. Mostly, we are here to announce that this project is launching today, which is the 10th year anniversary of the self immolation of Bouazizi, and it will actually commence in January. And Amani will say more about our partners and our potential topics and themes. But for now, let me just say that today, as we shared, is the 10th anniversary of the start of the Arab uprisings in Tunisia. In addition to the half dozen countries that experienced continuous mass protests on a wide scale in 2011, what is often termed the second wave of mass protests and uprisings erupted in 2019 in four additional countries. It is a critical chapter in the history of the region, despite the less than desired outcomes. Nonetheless, various forms of dissent and protests are ongoing in several cases, and a resurgence is latent in others, including in countries where short lived tremors of revolt were either temporarily appeased or contained or subdued. We are hereby launching the 1 year long effort to commemorate, interrogate, and try to understand the series of events we call the Arab Uprisings. We also intend to produce a set of resources for educators, researchers, students, and journalists who wish to look back or keep up with these developments from a scholarly or a layperson point of view. Over the past decade, a plethora of events, conferences, workshops, panels, lectures, screenings, commemorations, and so on, as well as texts, including books, articles, peer reviewed articles, and otherwise reports, policy papers, and so on, have been curated and produced. Yet, despite various excellent readings, we find ourselves asking some of the similar questions we did on the eve of the uprisings or shortly after. Some have not been answered adequately, or perhaps it was or is too early in some respects to answer them appropriately. With hindsight and the passage of a decade, we might be in a better position to look back analytically and approach some of these questions differently, with a more keen historical and theoretical eye, but also one grounded in empirical data collection, which is now available to us, which is also part of the contribution, part of the immense contribution that the Arab Barometer of Stanford that Amani is running. Will actually be providing. Considering dire and turbulent conditions in the region, within and between countries, as well as in relation to international actors, it is more than evident that we have not yet seen the last expressions of dissent in the regions on all scale. What therefore might be might what this is a question. What therefore might we expect, including in countries that seem relatively stable? Evading predictions, what developments might foreground further tremors and potential revolts? What or who might be the new forces of change as well as counter revolution? Whether we are witnessing the culmination of post colonial development or a response to contemporary global slash local conditions and contradictions, it is clear that the last chapter of the uprisings that developed in 2011 and had several forms of continuation henceforth has clearly not been written yet. Thus, looking back and forward, we are still in search of more robust answers to lingering questions. And I will spare some of these questions that we actually used to put together this project. And instead, I'll move on to announcing that over the coming year, starting today, 17 December 2020, we seek to curate a series of events and projects to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the uprisings. This will involve meetings, including workshops, panels, roundtables, and so on, um, all sorts of convenings. Second, a variety of texts that could involve articles, roundtables, textual roundtables, and potentially a volume that is published by University Press, which can be assigned in classrooms and beyond. Artistic expressions, which we are including as part of our compendium, a podcast series, audio and video, and most importantly, for posterity, a resource module or portal which can be available to anyone wishing to learn more about the uprisings for years and perhaps decades to come. And the content of these uh, events and activities will be divided according to themes that Amani might address. These are the themes that we all have been talking about for some time now. Um, and we're trying to include, and we're keen on including a significant amount of participation by scholars and interlocutors and activists from the region, from the Arab world, with some of the events and knowledge production occurring actually in Arabic, so that we could access or have others access our material from the region, regardless of the language potential language barrier. I should say that this was originally a collaboration effort between the Arab Studies Institute and Princeton's Arab Barometer project and GMU's Middle East and Islamic Studies program, but with conversations with Georgetown University Center for Contemporary Arab Studies and with Ahmed's Professor or Dean Ahmed. كتير هيك معقدة صارت القصة with the dean with the Professor Ahmed's discussions. We began to expand this to include many more partners that Amani will share. Over the past weeks, this took place, and we decided to make the announcement today, nonetheless, to commemorate the 10th anniversary. I'll stop here. I'll ask Amani to share more about our partners and the project, and then Nadia and Ahmed, please feel free to interject with any commentary you might have. Welcome to all, and thanks to whoever is joining us. And it seems that we do have quite a bit of people joining us, and we really appreciate it. And you will be uh, 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 you will be faced, confronted, and you will be presented with a ton of material in the coming year based on this collective. Amani, ahlan wa sahlan. You are muted.
Ahlan Fik Bassam. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you to our colleagues, Dr. Nadia, Dr. Ahmed, for joining us. It's a real delight to have you with us. We're very excited by this initiative. We know that a lot has been done on the Arab Spring, but we think that this 10-year anniversary, marking the anniversary with an entire year of academic and scholarly programming, is really going to be a wonderful contribution to the scholarship on this topic. And as my partner in crime, Bassam, indicated, we're not only going to be, straight up presenting scholarly works, but we're going to have a variety of voices, opinions from artists to activists, maybe podcasts and even films, showcasing them here on the Arab Spring, this wonderful anniversary. Furthermore, we are delighted that this is an initiative that's not simply about Bassam and myself, but rather one that involves and leverages the wonderful and many scholarly contributions of many scholars across the US, the Middle East, and Europe, and many institutions. And I want to list them here. First and foremost, we have, Georgetown University, the Center for Contemporary Arab Studies, as a partner. Also the American University of Beirut, the Asfari Institute, the ACSS in Lebanon, Brown University, and the Center for Middle East Studies, headed by Dr. Nadia Ali, UC Santa Barbara, their Center for Middle East Studies, Harvard University, their Center of Middle East Studies, University of Exeter, the Institute of Arab and Islamic Studies, Birzeit University, the Department of Political Science, Stanford University, the Center for Democracy, Development, and Rule of Law, AUC affiliates, and Georgetown University, Qatar, and Dean Ahmed Dallal is with us. We also, of course, have Princeton University and George Mason University as partners as well. We are going to explore a variety of topics that we think are really germane to the 10th anniversary of the Arab Spring. We're going to be working and fine-tuning these topics with our partners, but in terms of just like a little bit of a brainstorming session, some of the topics that we're going to propose and work out with our partners to see, and to organize events around include the historical role of the Arab state, re-examining the social contract, the role of external intervention in the region, and the impact it has on destabilization. Alongside that, we're also going to be looking at the role of conflict in the Middle East, several of the consequences that we're looking at today, including the humanitarian cost of war, the refugee crisis. What role does trauma and play in the daily lives of ordinary citizens in terms of the psychological, physical, and economic effects? We'd like to revisit the issue of Palestine and where does Palestine stand vis-a-vis the Arab Uprising. We want to look at minorities in the region. Furthermore, we want to re-examine the role of protest. Has the nature of protest shifted over the last 10 years? And furthermore, what role does the ongoing economic crisis in the region play in the uprisings? We'll be looking at new opportunities and future avenues for research. And what I'm very excited about, as well as Bassam, is that we're going to be leveraging, if you just look at our partners, the number of partners, the number of institutions, and our wonderful colleagues that are involved, we're going to be leveraging a tremendous amount of regional expertise, empirical sophistication in terms of data and insights from on the ground, and really have conversations across disciplines, so that this is going to, we're going to be inviting scholars who are from history and anthropology and gender studies and economics and political science. And so we're very much encouraged and looking forward to the intellectual exchange that we're going to be sharing over the coming year. So I'll leave it at there. We are excited about this initiative. We hope many of you will join us. And I do want to give a chance for our partners who have joined us today to say a word, perhaps, if that's okay.
Sure. Shall I have a first go?
Please,
Yes,
Dr. Nadia.
Yeah. So, because this was a short term, I didn't prepare anything officially, but I'll be speaking from the heart to say that I was really excited when I was invited to join this initiative as director of the Center for Middle East Studies at Brown. And there were many reasons I was very excited. One is that I think even more so than before, one thing that the pandemic has shown is that we really, really need to work together. We need to work collectively, collaboratively. And I guess as a feminist scholar, I've had for a while this feeling that, we're too much sort of stuck in our own little worlds, and that we need to pool our resources and our expertise together. And also just in terms of, human relation, I think it's really important. So that's one big reason. And I also think that collectively we can maybe better address these challenges, these new challenges that have emerged over the past 10 years. I mean, it's not just the Arab world, the Middle East, it's a world that has changed completely in so many different ways. And the challenges we are facing also show us that old categorizations of the way that we've divided the world into the Middle East and the West just don't hold true anymore. Actually, everywhere we've seen the rise of authoritarianism, right-wing extremism, fascism across the world. while everywhere we have seen people protesting, people trying to resist and trying to pursue ideas of social justice and equality. And so I think it would be really great to think together and to think historically, but also comparatively, and contribute also, while focusing on the Arab world and the Middle East, also de-exceptionalize the Middle East, which I think is really important. And then I guess for myself, Amani knows, for me, the centrality of gender and sexuality, which cuts across both historically and also in contemporary context. And the other thing that really excites me about the project is that it attempts to bridge over academic knowledge production, activism, and art and creativity. And I think, we've had too many tensions, in terms of activist versus academic, Middle East located versus Western located. And I hope that one thing the project does collectively is also engage critically and undo some of these binaries and tensions. This is not to say that we'll all always agree, but I think, these hopefully, tensions will be constructive, and we'll be able to think beyond, some of the what we thought sort of established categories. And so I'm really excited, and I'm glad that I can join as director of the Center for Middle East Studies, and I'm looking forward to be working with you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Nadia. Ahmed, I know that you had indicated a desire to be a spectator, but you can't be the only person that doesn't say anything.
حاضر على راسك. Thank you, Bassam and Amani. This is an exciting project. When I spoke to Bassam just a couple of days ago, I told him that a couple of months ago, when we were thinking of projects for our Center for International and Regional Studies, obviously one of the topics that we thought about is the Intifada 10 years later. But we decided not to proceed as of yet, back then, with any specific project, because the big question that we asked is, so what is the angle? I mean, it's not just because 10 years have passed, we should have project. We should have something specific that justifies this project. It seems to me that an optimal way of addressing this subject is to do it collectively, to bring in expertise. I mean, the whole expertise that is lined up for this particular project. And again, I thank you for this initiative to start thinking of the questions that we should be asking, and to collectively hone and refine these questions so that we could hopefully wade through the wealth of analysis that is out there, and have a clearer perspective as we study the subject. So thanks again. It's an exciting topic. We look forward to participating in this project.
And we also look forward to welcoming our partners from the region a little extra, because they are in the heart of it all, including Ahmed, as well as Satani, and as well as Rabab al-Mahdi, Amr Adli, Alina Abu Habib, from respectively from Georgetown, ACSS, Arab Council for the Social Sciences, and AUC and AUB. We are looking forward to holding a significant part of what we do also in the region, and hopefully in the Arabic language. Now, Amani,
Bassam, we also want to mention Ghada al-Madbouh from Bir Zayt.
and I forgot Palestine. See, this is for everyone that tells me I over focus on Palestine. I should use this, and it's documented. And Ghada al-Madbouh, who hails from the political science department at Birzeit University, I am hoping that we actually spoke a few days ago, and we're hoping to hold something in Palestine in relation to how the uprisings affected the situation in Palestine, and vice versa. Now, before we break, and I know we are, coming close to the half hour, which we promised everyone this will be a half hour long introduction. I would like to ask Amani, did we mention the new edition that happened today?
So I actually did not. I just saw this. The University of Chicago has also agreed to partner with this pending official approval. So I wasn't sure if we could announce it, but it seems that we can.
Yes, yes.
Excellent.
The Chicago Center for Contemporary Theory, with Lisa Wedeen as the point person or their representative, is also joining us, and we have a pending invitation to Bard University with the program for the arts and the humanities, or something close. I don't have the exact title in front of me, but this would be also another edition that will expand our horizons and address directly the question of artistic expressions. Now, let me just say that, or remind whoever's interested, that our first event will take place in January, late January. And we're hoping to have our first event focus on the historical dimension, the longue durée, the long arc in modern Middle Eastern history and modern Arab history, where the uprisings figure in that context, or where do the uprisings figure in that context. And we do assume that, as I shared earlier, that this is not an event that ends. It does seem that it will have various forms of expressions into the future. So we are also not working on a historical event. We're also working on a live event that is taking place as we speak. So please share this post or this feed, and look to further knowledge production coming from this project, whereby there will be a portal, or there will be a URL, or there will be an address of sorts where everyone can follow up with this project. Amani, have I in any way, shape, or form misrepresented anything about the project?
Not at all. You passed every single check mark.
ماشي
Yes, we're
الحال
fine.
ماشي الحال.
ماشي
Okay.
الحال. We're good to go.
And I have said my last words. If anyone, we do have a couple of minutes. If anyone would like to say any last words or share any last words, please go ahead. Okay.
And I do want to say to all our partners who will be seeing this, and the partners joining us, if any ideas cross your desk, just shoot us an email. We're going to have a discussion group where we can bring these ideas and bring them to fruition. So this is an ongoing collaborative project in every spirit of that word. And we want to continue, we want to be working together, and maybe hopefully this sets the stage for future collaborations as well.
Absolutely. Not least, again, in the realm of pedagogy and the provision of material that is either ready-made or packaged in a particular way for classroom instruction at all levels, from secondary education level, which is part of our set of projects at the Middle East Studies Pedagogy Initiative, to college, early or introductory, intermediate, as well as graduate levels. So we all are very excited about that aspect of this project, which will continue to live long after this project ends on 17 December 2021. All right. Well, thank you all for joining, and I hope we don't disappoint you, and I do hope that we actually are able to live up to the promise and the commitment that we have made. Shukran to everyone.
Thank you.
Salam.
Thank you. Wassalamu
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Ahmed and Nadia, for joining us on
Thank you.
very short notice. Salam.